What this entire record did, as well as the movie, is that it invited me to consider other outlines and other blueprints in my life. The outlines and blueprints that I had set before me were perfectly fine, but they weren't mine. And this was one of the first times that I realized that I could start writing my own outline and drawing my own blueprints for my own life. Hello everybody, my name is Bishop Friesch and I want to welcome you to my life through music, where I talk about the songs and music that was either there at a particular place and particular time, or songs and music that expresses thoughts, feelings, or emotions that I had in those particular places and those particular times. And the record that does that for this time in my life is Purple Rain by Prince and the Revolution. And while the main focus is going to be on Purple Rain, I absolutely have to talk about quickly a couple of songs prior to that, because not only was this record so influential, it just had so many awesome songs on it. Now, as I look back from this point to what I had been listening to before, I was influenced mostly by rock and roll, except for the last two videos where I can see that a pop influence was starting to emerge and become an influence on my mind and widening my perspective on music, which is equally awesome. And as I started watching more and more videos on MTV, I noticed this video by Prince and the Revolution called When Doves Cry. And it just blew me away. It just blew me away. And here's why. Prior to that, I had never seen or heard anything like it before in my life. And when I saw that video, you think about the words, dig, if you will, the picture of you and I engaged in a kiss. I mean, that's the setting right there. And you talk about an ocean of violets and bloom. I mean, just imagine the visuals on that. It's just incredible. And it was sexy. It was provocative. It was controversial, especially at the time. But mostly when I saw that, I noticed for me that Prince exuded a different type of sexual presence. One that, due to my influence before, I had never seen before. And he wasn't ashamed of it. He wasn't afraid of what anybody would think about him or say about him. He didn't care what anybody thought. And again, I'll repeat this, that is a quality that I highly respect no matter what, even up to this day. And watching this at 15 years old, 14, 15 years old, it had a very profound effect on how I viewed sexuality in general, my own sexuality, and how it would influence me moving forward, and how it would influence me in the future. And I soon realized after seeing this video, some of the scenes in it were from a movie. And it was a movie that obviously Prince was in. And I had to see it. I just had to see it. And when I finally did see it, again, I was blown away. I was blown away in so many ways. Coming from I guess you can put it, an uneventful, childhood. It was pretty basic, pretty standard. When I saw that movie, that culture in the club scenes was just fascinating. It was so fascinating to me. And the idea of love, it attracted me. The idea of physicality, it allured me and it intrigued me and hypnotized me. But to be honest, the idea of domestic violence awakened me and it terrified me. And as I watched it, I was captivated by how the songs just flowed from one to the next, just bleeding from one into the other in their perfect place in the movie to continue to tell the story and provide depth to the story through the music, which I absolutely love. And before I get to Purple Rain, I just have to quickly mention two more songs besides When Doves Cry. First, The Beautiful Ones. That song, when I first heard it, hit me so hard. And again, this is no pun intended. This is a very beautiful, beautiful song. It really is. To me, it's passionate. It's very open, like a lot of his songs are. It's melodic. It's very melodic. And I love how his voice just starts off, delicate. And when he begins to talk, when he talks about, quote, paint a perfect picture. And I just love that part in the background where the piano is just perfectly tiptoeing and dancing around, almost like a ballerina, dancing around, adding this extra element to that perfect picture that Prince is painting. And when the tone of his voice and the tone of the music, it moves from this delicate passion to a fiery passion. It just really captures us. And we really get an awesome, awesome sense and feel for Prince's vocal range. I mean, just listen to it. It's incredible. And then there's Darlin' Nikki, which is a raw, unapologetic, matter-of-fact delivery of this portrayal of an encounter with a woman. And I'm not going to elaborate on it. That's not really what I'm going to do here. But I assure you, it's done in perfect Prince fashion. And I fully love it and I fully appreciate it for what it is. But what can we say about Purple Rain, the song? It is an incredibly elegant and deep, deep song. In terms of its relationship to the movie, I think the lyrics as well as the character's reaction in the movie not only reveal an acceptance of Prince's talent, his genius, and his growth, but it also alludes to his compassion, his concern, and his love for others. And the reason I point that out is because throughout the movie, he is, in more than one occasion, he's portrayed as being selfish and thinking only of himself. And the song Purple Rain at the end of the movie just shows that and proves that he does have a part of him that is totally opposite to all of those things. And I just get a sense of maturity and self-realization when that song comes on in the movie. And to me, there's so much being said. There's so much being said, not only in the words and from the words, but between the lines. It really is. And also the music. The music and the words, they blend so well and they complement each other to bring that feeling out. And I feel it. And the next question is, do you feel it? And what do you feel? I feel sincerity. And there's a question that I want to bring up. And that question is, when you hear that song, when you listen to it, who do you think of? Have you thought about that? What part of the song, what verse, what words would you like to say to those people from the song? And more importantly, why? And how about that incredible performance of the Super Bowl when he performed, the whole set, but again, in the end, Purple Rain, and in the middle of the rain, it was just so poetic. And I mean, how awesome was that? I mean, it was just, to me, I stood there just dumbfounded watching that. I also remember having a conversation with a younger guy. And I'll talk about music with anybody because I like to get as many different opinions and angles and different, shades of light on music that I can. And it was cool. We were talking about Prince, the subject of Prince came up, and as we were talking, he was pointing towards the fact that, he's like, why isn't Prince known for his guitar playing? Why isn't he revered for that? And, I said to him, I said, well, actually, he is. He really is, if you dig deeper. And this was coming from a guy who was probably, a little more casual listener to his music. And I said, he definitely is, if you dig deeper. And he's like, well, why, And I said, well, someone like Prince is someone who is so talented and plays all those instruments at the highest level, not just dabbles, but he played all those instruments at the very highest level. One talent or one instrument is not going to stand out more than the other because he plays them all great. And, as I was, talking to this guy, he was like, yeah. And a couple of years later, when Prince left us, I thought about that conversation. I still think about that conversation. And again, poetically, 3 days after Prince left us, after his passing, David Gilmour of Pink Floyd, one of the most prolific, one of the most talented, influential, prominent, I could go on, guitarists of our time, an authority, a true authority on guitar playing, in a live performance 3 days after Prince's passing, in arguably his most famous and recognizable song, Comfortably Numb. Before David Gilmour went into his solo, his guitar solo for that song, he pays homage to Prince by playing on the guitar part of Purple Rain. And it was just a beautiful moment. If you know, Pink Floyd is well known for the lights and the lasers and stuff. And when David Gilmour did that, the entire lights, they turned purple. And he just went into this beautiful, beautiful section of Pink Floyd. And I don't think anybody was really expecting it. And it was awesome. It was totally incredible. And about 3 years after that, another guitar legend, Eric Clapton, the great Eric Clapton, played it live also on one of his sets. And again, the lights were all purple, and he played the entire song, which is just a testament and proof positive that he was revered as a great, great guitarist. And last, but certainly not least, what about Prince's performance at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, performing While My Guitar Gently Weeps? I mean, he leaves us just speechless. And I'm sure if you're watching this, you've seen it, but I mean, it just was an incredible performance. And I just can't help it when I see Prince performing live and I see him playing the guitar. At least in my opinion, I see Jimmy. I see a little bit of Jimmy in his playing. And I just got to ask, do you see it too? I mean, it's just so incredible. We've all been touched by Prince's music, and like so much music from so many beloved musicians that, that have gone before him. Our lives are better for it. I know mine is. Our lives are better for it. And no matter how you've been touched by Prince's music, I know that we can all agree that he was an incredible guitarist, and more so, a genius musically. And I think we can also all agree that now he's in a place where, quote, you can always see the sun, day or night, end quote. And this is why these songs are in my Life Through Music playlist. And I'm going to put all of the songs and videos that I referred to down below, so you can immediately, if you like, go to them, check them out. If you haven't in a while, when you get the chance, please do, because it will rekindle your appreciation for his music and what it can do and has done for you and your life. And when you do, I promise you that the music part of your day will be better for it. And as always, I want to thank you for your time. Again, I know it's valuable, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.